For those of you curious how the Evapo-Rust has been working out, well, I've been conducting some tests, and it's working out quite well. After all, if Rick Dale approves of it, how can you go wrong? So, down in here, this is the back metal cover from that Rust Bucket Admiral tabletop TV I got. It's almost completely rust-free now. And threw in a couple of Philco tube shields, which are also almost completely rust-free. I guess maybe it is, it just kind of came off when I touched it. Now, it being November, it's a little below the optimal temperature for this stuff. They say 65 or higher. I probably use about 65 in here. I tend to keep my thermostat set a bit low to save money on heating, plus I kind of like cooler temps. So I expect this would work even faster. But as it is, it's only been a couple hours. I also started working on this piece, which was really, really, really bad. From that same Rusty Admiral, so it's almost completely rust-free. Now this one I let sit overnight. And this section was especially bad, and it's now virtually rust-free. And I dried it off hours ago, and rust has not come back like I've had issues with using other products. Now, it should definitely still be treated with something. I'll probably clear coat this with enamel or something like that. Yeah, the stuff not only works very well, it's environmentally friendly. No odors. You see I'm sticking my hand right in it. It's not acid-based. They say you can keep using it until it stops working, and then just pour it down the drain. So, there's just no reason to use anything else as far as I'm concerned. So, as far as this rust stripper goes and the naval jelly, forget it. I'm just using this for everything from now on, if at all possible. And they say even if the part's too big to submerge in a bucket or tub like this, that you can soak rags in it and press it up against the rusty metal and then cover it with plastic sheeting to keep it from evaporating, and that will also work. So, yeah, I just hope I can find somewhere local that sells the stuff. Otherwise, I'll have to keep getting a mail order. But even so, it's like $10 for a gallon or something like that. Well worth it if you ask me. The next thing I want to try removing the rust from using the Evapo-Rust is the focus coil. Now inside of this are many, many, many turns of enameled copper wire, and passes current through it, forms an electromagnet, and that's how it focuses the electron beam on the neck of the CRT. As you can see, it's pretty corroded. Now I could just dump this into the bucket. They say that it's safe on copper and brass and all that, but I am not quite that trusting. Plus, once liquid gets inside here, it's going to be tough to dry it out and get all the residue out, I think. So, I noticed that it seems to be held together just by little bent over tabs of metal, and it occurred to me I've never actually seen the insides of one of these. So I'm going to try to carefully bend back those tabs and see if I can get this thing apart and just put the outer shells into the Evapo-Rust. Well, unfortunately, it turns out that those little metal tabs are really hard to bend back. So rather than damaging this thing by whacking on it with a hammer, I am going to just dump it in the solution. Hey, they say it won't harm other metals. I noticed when I got the plastic cup out of the center that there is actually a large groove around the center as well as the opening here, so I don't think it'll be all that hard to drive the remaining fluid out. Worst case scenario, I can dig up a spare if need be. Here's the other part of this, the yoke support, which is pretty much rust-free now. I noticed that if for heavier rusted areas, you should really take it out periodically and kind of rub it to get the loosened up, converted or whatever rust off of there. It's been about 4 hours now, so Let's see how it's doing. Wow, that really is quite remarkable. And that stuff, I've noticed when there was some remaining rust nodules, whatever, they just wipe right off. So this is basically rust free now. I'm going to let it sit a little bit longer. See, that stuff's just coming right off. And then rinse it off real good and dry it out. All the bubbles coming out as the fluid's rushing inside. So I'll have to drain that out really good for sure. Here are all those pieces, completely rust-free. Little discoloration here and there from the solution, like this piece I couldn't completely submerge once, so I would do one side and the other and it'd be like a little line from where it was sat in the fluid, but otherwise everything is looking great. And it's been days now, or a couple of weeks in the case of this, and I never put anything on it, no treatment, and there's no corrosion coming back at all. Well, I put the plastic cup back inside this. After it was done with the rust, I let this sit in the oven for a while on the lowest setting, and I also let it sit in front of my hot air output on my furnace. So I think it's completely, I'm sure now, it's been a couple of weeks, I'm sure it's completely dried out. And the other pieces, so the main thing left that's rusty is the chassis, and I wish I could submerge the entire thing in that fluid, but it's just not going to be possible. Oh, I think earlier I mentioned that it was like $10 a gallon. It's a little more than that. I think it was closer to 30. But I also did find a competing product that Home Depot carries. I'll pull it up on my computer. I can't recall the name right now. Here's that Home Depot product. It's called Workshop Hero Metal Rescue Rust Remover Bath. About $25 a gallon. So about the same price as the other stuff, but this I can get locally. And I think it works with the same process. Same deal, non-toxic and all that. So if anybody out there has tried it, I'd be curious to know what your results were with it. But now that the weather's gotten so cold, I don't know. I may try to bring in the chassis, which is out on the porch right now, and get the rest of the rust off. But it may be a while before I get back to this project. I just wanted to let you know how much I like the Evapo-Rust and how well it worked.